Hey guys, welcome back to my new video from my series where I redesigned Greek mythology characters. To be fully honest, this redesign is a little bit unexpected even from my side, but before we start, hey, I'm Morgan, I'm an illustrator, graphic designer and art student, and this is my YouTube channel. But now back to this being unexpected, and it's because I've planned to redesign a completely different character, and the reason why today I am actually redesigning Zeus is still something that I want to keep to myself, but hopefully I will be making a video about it. I would not say soon, but in a matter of hopefully next few months, when I'm gonna have a little more progress with the thing that the Zeus's design is involved in. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started with the redesign. I'm going to do the exactly same thing that I do every time. So firstly, I'm going to talk about Zeus and his part in mythology, and then I'm going to talk about my design choices and in general the drawing. So there is actually a lot to say about Zeus, but I'm not going to talk about everything because that would make this video way too long. So I'm just gonna cover the basics that are needed to know who Zeus actually is, or was, depends on what point of view are you applying to talking about gods. I usually kind of mix things together, so I usually use is and was together. Anyway, Zeus is actually one of the most famous gods in Greek mythology, since he's that kind of famous that you don't really have to be into Greek mythology to know Zeus, at least to know the name and that he was a god. The same thing with Mona Lisa, you don't have to be into art to know Mona Lisa and like a lot of other things, but you know, this kind of logic. But Zeus is also known as the king of the gods and the god of thunder and lightning. And since he's the king, also the ruler of Mount Olympus, which is his and a lot of other gods' residency. But now let's dive into a little bit of a backstory and Zeus's childhood, but now let's go to the real tea of Zeus's life. And so Zeus was a son of the Titan Kronos and Rhea, but as it usually is, and I definitely talked about this in the Hades video and the Poseidon video as well, there was a prophecy that Kronos did not really like, and it was that there would be one child, his child, that would overthrow him, and he did not like that, very understandingly. So the best way Kronos could really think of to prevent this from happening, every time Rhea, his wife, gave birth to a new kid, he ate the kid basically right away, which Rhea was understandably not really happy about. So as she was getting fed up with her husband, when it was Zeus's time to be born, she actually handed Kronos a rock wrapped in a piece of fabric, so Kronos wouldn't notice that she's actually not handing him a real baby. So after Kronos got satisfied with eating a rock wrapped in a piece of clothing or whatever, Rhea took small Zeus to the island of Crete where he was raised and eventually got strong and got ready to make the prophecy come true. So as we all can tell now, when Zeus became an adult, in god terms of course, he overthrew his father and then became king of the gods or ruler of the gods. And also as he overthrew him and killed him, and I would say ripped him apart, all the swallow's children flew out from him and were free to live their best lives. And among these children there was Hera, who then later became his wife. So as I also said in the Hera redesign that I did last time, you should not be really surprised that Zeus married his sister. So because that's kind of what happens in Greek mythology quite often. Anyway, other gods that were eaten by Kronos were Hestia, Demeter, Poseidon and Hades. And with Hades and Poseidon, Zeus got the three, not really kingdoms, but now I'm not really sure of the word that I can use for this, the three domains that need to be taken care of. So Zeus ruled over the sky and heavens, Poseidon got sea, and Hades ruled over the underworld. But not to, cover everything in glitter, Zeus is actually well and the most known for his affairs and basically sleeping around with everyone except his wife and his sister in one person, of course. And to be fully honest, if I wanted to talk about the affairs that he had, this video would be a little too long for YouTube. Well, I don't know how long the video on YouTube could be, but I don't want to risk that. So let's say Zeus slept around with anyone, basically, usually camouflaging himself as usually an animal. Usually a bull and swan are the most famous. But in general, it did not really matter to Zeus whether his lover was mortal, immortal, male or female, but most of his affairs were women. Anyway, I maybe should correct myself with my statement that Zeus slept around with everyone except his wife, which I mean is kind of true, but him and Hera actually had 3 children, which if you've watched the previous redesigns you may already know, and they are Ares, the god of war, Hebe, the goddess of youth, and Hephaestus, the god of fire and metalworking. And then of course Zeus had a lot of other children with his lovers, and believe me, there is a lot of them, some of them being gods, demigods, or maybe even mortals. And the most famous Zeus's affair kids are definitely Hercules, Perseus, and Persephone. So in general, the conclusion of the mythology part for this video is that Zeus is extremely horny and is showing it off, maybe a little too much. Anyway, that was the mythology part. I would be able to talk about Zeus more, but for the sake of this video and for the length of it, I think I'm gonna stop right here. And now let's go to the designing or the drawing part. And to be fully honest, and also as I said on the beginning of this video, this was unexpected for me to do because I was kind of trying to put Zeus's redesign away as far as I could, since I'm not a fan of him and I did not really want to draw him, so I was like trying to, you know, pretend that he's not there. He doesn't need the redesign. But as I said, unfortunately there is something in my personal projects going on that was in need of Zeus's design, because there was no way I was drawing him naked, because that would emphasize the horniness even more, and I ain't doing that. And even before, when I started this whole redesigning series, I even back in the day started with the redesign, because I kinda wanted to get him off my chest, just to have the redesign ready and maybe then just draw him. But I was struggling, like, oh boy, I was struggling so bad. So as I was struggling, I was like, okay, this is not worth my time right now. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna let him do whatever and I'm gonna just go with other characters, which then happened because I did Apollo, Hades, and all the other characters that are currently filmed and are on my YouTube channel. But as I said, unexpected situation, and I had to do something to make something and create a Zeus's redesign from it. So in the end, as I was designing him or designing the different elements for his outfit or for his redesign, I stuck to the fact that I think I even said this in the Hera redesign, but to give him like kind of a cape to show that he's, you know, more like royalty-like and not just normal god-like, if that makes sense. And I also said this, but I did not really live up to that expectation of mine, is that when I did redesign for Poseidon and Hades, I both gave them like kind of a shoulder armor, well, not really armor for Hades, but like shoulder covering piece of decoration, which I wanted to give Zeus as well. But to be fully honest, as I was struggling to do the design and to make it work, I did not really come up with anything that would look original or that I would like. So in the end, when I was designing the cape, I made the cape go around his or over his shoulder, so that kind of got it covered and could be maybe taken as the shoulder decoration piece. But as I'm looking at this design now, to be fully honest, I did it quite simple. But on the other hand, I think I also said this in the previous videos, but all of the characters, even those that I already designed, they definitely have more outfits, because even if you're a god, which means you're most likely immortal, I think it would be pretty boring to wear the same thing 24/7. So this is just one of his, you know, fashion pieces. So there is definitely more that could be done with him. Maybe in the future when I get the ideas, or not just for Zeus but also for the other characters, there will be definitely more fashion choices happening. And also one thing that I said to myself even before I kind of started designing Zeus, because as I was talking, well, I think I at least mentioned it, but I still am, but not as much as I would like to. I was working on a comic that included Zeus, but just only like his face, or like just side view profile of his face, so there was just like a piece of his shoulder, neck and his face from side. So I pretty much had his face and like hairstyle designed before I even like started thinking about what he's going to wear. And to be fully honest, even before I drew his face. I felt like, hey, you know, I don't think I should make Zeus look hot, because I think if he's such a bad person, I don't think he deserves to look hot. And I think it would be kind of a shame to have, you know, crush on someone who's, you know, a horrible person as Zeus is. But I think I kind of failed. Because if you saw the previous video that I did, the recreating Michelangelo's David, I recreated Michelangelo's David with my OC Mark, who is not from ancient Greece, he's from present, so he's, you know, living his best life in 21st century. But is that kind of a type that looks like Zeus, to be fully honest. And I have a few characters that are the same type of guy, not with personality, but, you know, appearance-wise. They just kind of looked like him. That's even worse. So I was like, hey, you know, I kind of failed. So I made Zeus hot and I'm ashamed of myself. Let's say that. Body-wise, face-wise, but not personality-wise. Definitely not, no. Anyway, a little bit more to the design. I, as you can see, try to incorporate, you know, the lightning symbol to just kind of give it away, since I was desperate and I didn't know what to do really. I just tried to put that in there as much as I can, so it would be obvious that, hey, that's Zeus. That's the guy that will most likely do the deed with you or already did the deed with you. And it doesn't matter if you said yes or no. And as I said with Hera, and I'm repeating myself here, I also thought about giving him like a crown, since he's, you know, the king of the gods. But since he's already having that kind of a, not really crown, but that levitating thing around his head that I gave to all the gods, no matter if they're like minor god or like, you know, big god. I actually forgot with Poseidon, but that's just because I forgot. So I was like, hey, you know, I don't think I want to, you know, overcrowd his head, since he already has like curly hair that is by itself a little bit more detailed than like straight hair or something. So I was like, you know, let's just give him the basic crown that he would have no matter what. But, you know, he has the necklace, so that's again making up for everything. So that is it. That is hopefully the only Zeus that I will draw from now on for a very long time. So I hope I won't be in need of Zeus's redesign in the future, or at least not this year. So let's say the possibility of redesigning Zeus again is 2024 thing. Anyway, I hope you liked it, even though it's Zeus. And I also hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed my talking about facts and my art decisions and everything else. And definitely don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any upcoming video, because recently I've been kind of getting on a schedule, posting every 2 weeks, so every 14 days, which I think is nice, giving me enough space to think about what I want to film, then drawing, editing, voiceovering and everything else. And definitely don't forget to leave a comment on which Greek mythology character you would like me to do next. I have you on my list, and maybe to, well, not to spoil anything, but next possible candidate for next redesign, maybe either already mentioned Persephone or Ares, but I'm not gonna tell you which one it's gonna be, so that's why you need to subscribe, so you will know who I chose to design first, because there is definitely coming redesign for both of them, but just, you know, to keep you all excited. So anyway, once again, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, even though it was Zeus. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any upcoming Greek mythology redesigns or anything else. And also don't forget to like this video, leave some comment, and I will see you next time. Bye!